Hey family, I just wanted to make a very short video because I have to get ready for work. I work overnights from 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. So yeah. Um, the last 24 hours have been really rough for me. Yesterday I made a video about depression and faith and how you really have to use your faith to get you through. And today, 24 hours later, I am going through a bit of a cloud, so to speak. And I am really doing my all to press through it. But today is more so about how God will use you even when you don't want to be used. This morning when my kids woke up, getting them ready for school, my 5-year-old had a complete meltdown. She has been having a really hard time with, I don't really want to use the word abandonment, but when I'm not around, she just seems to have a really rough time with detaching from me. And same thing with my 11-year-old. My 11-year-old has, or my soon-to-be 11-year-old, he has autism. And even my 4-year-old, really all the younger kids are having a rough time since my husband hasn't been, with us. And it's just been very difficult. But my 5-year-old really hit my heart, and it made me reflect back on God. This morning, she was saying, well, I need you to go to my field trip because I need you just to be there for me. I need you to be there for me. You always promised that you'd be there for me. Why aren't you there for me? Needless to say, it hit my heart in the hardest way possible. And I'm trying not to tear up now just talking about it. But it hit my heart in the hardest way possible because as a mother, as a parent, you always want to be there for your kids 100%. You never want to miss the mark. And this morning when she said that, it really hurt. It's like, okay, I'm letting her know that, I'm in nursing school and, mommy can't be there for every event. And, between that and then work, because I had to take off when they got sick on Wednesday. So it's like, okay, what do I really do? But it just hit my heart and it hurts so much that you never want to feel like you're not doing your job. That as a parent, you try your best to lead and guide your children through every aspect of their life, and you never want to see them cry. You never want to see them without. You never want to see yourself as a burden to them. And it made me reflect back as I was driving in the car this morning. Just trust me, thank God it was dark because I was just a ball of tears, because it's just like between battling this depression and just feeling alone most of the time. I mean, although I have a sister circle around me, I'm that kind of person, because I'm going in such a dark place, especially with the seasons changing. I could be in a crowded room and still feel alone. But it made me reflect that how many times have I done that to my daddy, my ultimate daddy, that I've abandoned him, that I've not been the key person that he's wanted me to be. And it just broke my heart all over again. And it's funny that God will use you in a way that even when my heart was broken and feeling, just disgusted with myself, I took my kids to the store to go get them a jacket, because it was so cold this morning, and I have no idea where any of their clothes are because we're in transition, getting ready to pack up to move in the next 30 days. And I can't find jack squat. So I went to the store to try to find them a quick little t-shirt or a long coat or whatever. And the cashier, me and her, we know of each other. But this morning, she just walked up out of nowhere and just gave me a hug. And that thing broke me down. And she was like, something just told me I needed that. And I told her, that I needed that. I really needed that hug. And she said, that hug meant more for me than it did for you. So it took me back, like, okay, wow, okay. I'm like, well, when I see you at the register, I'll give you another hug, just as, good measure. So, as I get to the register, we start talking, and she started revealing to me all the things that she was going through. And it's funny that how God will use you, even when you don't want to be used. And like I said, this morning, I was just so hurt and so broken down in my own despair that I'm like, God, I'm just of no use to anybody. So I told her my story, or she's telling me her story. And I said, you know what? She's, 20 something. I don't want to give too much in case she's following me. She's 20 something, and um single mother, just going through the blues of her relationship. And in the relationship that she's in, her current boyfriend impregnated somebody else. Similar to what my situation is, except for I'm married and she's not. And the first thing I could tell her is, lean not to your own understanding and trust God with all your heart. The things that I wish that somebody had fed into me at her age, God allowed for me to feed into her. Although in that moment, I did not want to be used, God used me anyway. The things that I'm going through in my test, in my storm, in my hurt, and even in my grief of not knowing where my marriage is, and even in sometimes not even know where my husband is. What I'm going through is for somebody else and not just for myself. That moment of feeling so broken down for the past year of standing for my marriage, and sorry, I'm going to get a little light in here, standing for my marriage and trying to go through the motions, allow for me to be able to reach somebody else even when I didn't want to. And we exchanged numbers, and she knew my financial situation. Every time I came, I'm like, look, kids, we going straight from A to B. Don't look at a daggone thing. Don't even look at C. She bought a coat for my kids. And it's like God blessed me for blessing somebody else when I didn't want to be used. I say all that to say, never hide what you're going through in shame. Because what you see as shame is somebody else's encouragement to make it through another day. This thing, this weight, this pressure has been so dark and so deep on me. Some days I literally have wanted to crawl up in a ball and die. But I know that I have so much more that I have to live for. There's so much more ahead of me than behind me. Whether or not any man sees that in me, I have to realize that I have 4 lives that I have to fight for beyond myself. That I have 4 lives that are predestined to somebody else. So how dare I be so selfish to hide my shame when it's all for God's glory? When I left the store, she was like, thank you. And she even texted me after the fact, and she was like, just thank you. And I'm like, no, thank you. You don't understand how much me going through this pain has been hell for me. And when I say hell, I mean absolute walking on coals and glass. That I've had family turn against me. I've had friends turn their backs on me. But somebody who is a acquaintance or a stranger really saw more in me for sharing my pain and my shame than blood people that I've known all my 36 years. There's nothing too hard for God to use. So with everything that I'm going through, not only did I get the blessing, my children got the blessing. When I say God is a good God, there is nobody walking this earth or even in a grave that could tell me otherwise. There's so much power in his mighty, righteous right hand that I know somehow, some way, in the depths of my heart, beyond my despair, this thing is going to turn itself around. My good, his glory. As I said in, I think, my very first video, I've had a very hard time trusting God because I've been so broken down by life that this season, literally, it's funny that the seasons have like literally changed as of today. That yesterday it felt still somewhat like summer. Today the seasons have finally snapped and changed. It's cold now. It's turned into a new season. Literally and figuratively. God will take you out of that one season and put you into the next. And I thank him for that. I am learning now to wake up in the morning, even with a heavy heart. And before I even started making this video, I was so deep in my despair that I was just in my face. Like, you know what? I'm just like not even for it at this point. Even in my despair, God is still using me. Me. 20 minutes ago, even yesterday, I didn't think anything of myself. I could have sat here and told you all my flaws and how all those imperfections are reasons for me not to be used and not to be qualified. He does not call those that he doesn't feel like he can use. I mean, I'm sitting here feeling like a just complete reject when the whole entire time I was set up to be on a throne. I asked my son yesterday, I said, well, you're my little prince, and I call my daughters my little princesses. And I said, well, I wonder what that makes me. And they're like, duh, mommy, a queen. And it took a lot for me to accept that. Life had me so broken down that I couldn't see that. I couldn't see my own crown, my own queendom. Don't allow the dreariness of the day to block your reflection of who you really are. Trust me, when I say that, I am so talking to myself, not just the general public. Each day, I'm learning to grow. And I know that each tear that I'm crying is watering that seed in the ground. So, don't lose hope. There is still a turnaround. I am believing God to change everything that has been meant to hurt me, to heal me, and help me. All the generational curses in the name of Jesus are broken, are binded up and thrown into the sea of the abyss to never, ever return to touch any of my lineage. I have to declare and decree over my own life the same way that people that love me have done the same. Don't be discouraged. Don't be afraid to share your pain, because God is using that pain that's in your life for somebody else to be blessed. And in the midst of that, you will be blessed. So, be blessed, be loved, because you are loved.